Hey, good morning, everyone. We're here today for another leadership seminar series from the College of Engineering, which is sponsored by our dear alumni and friend Ken Hayashida. We are grateful that you are here, and I believe you are going to have a fantastic time listening to our speaker today, Kelly, who Adam and Ellie will introduce formally. And he's gonna tell us all the stories about how he got to the position where he's at, where he has to make very decisive decisions on what to do for the future of his company. And the folks that are here in person, please do not let this opportunity go by and grab him after this talk and ask him all the stuff that you'd like. Anyway, thank you very much. Everyone that's online, I think there's like 30 of you online today, as well as the people that are here. You guys enjoy this talk. Ellie.
Thank you, Dean. All right, so hey everyone, my name is Adam. This is Ellie. We're engineering student ambassadors. So we'd like to welcome you all to the leadership seminar of November, last one of the semester, presented by the Hayashida family. So Ellie will start off by introducing Kelly.
Okay, so as president, Kelly Ueoka oversees the company's day-to-day operations and the expansion of Pax's products and services in Hawaii and beyond. He works to enhance Pax's core technology solutions and capabilities in collaboration with global partners on the most advanced platform tools. Kelly has more than 15 years of technical consulting experience and oversees all technology, engineering, and consulting roles with Paxa. He is also a Microsoft and infrastructure solutions architect and a certified solutions expert for hybrid cloud technologies. Kelly has extensive experience in architecting and modernizing complex infrastructure and application environments, as well as developing advanced cybersecurity solutions. So now that we know a little bit about Kelly, we'll have him begin with any opening remarks he'd like to share.
Wow, thank you so much. I gotta find out where you got that from. That was very well done. More well done than I could articulate, but yeah, so thank you. So the company that I operate is called Paxa, and it is a locally based technology systems integrator that partners very closely with companies like Microsoft, Oracle, and HPE. It is wholly owned by the Island Holdings family of companies. So Paxa is a sister company to Island Insurance, Atlas Insurance, and Trademan Capital Group, which is our private. Yeah, so 15 years, man. I can't believe it's been that long, because it's probably been closer to 20 now. Yeah, I'm excited to participate today. I did get a chance to review the questions beforehand, so please, if that's the format you want to proceed with, then fire away. I think I'm ready, and I won't forget to take that bio from you guys, because it's fantastic.
Okay. So working in economic sector where most electrical engineering students feel there are not many career opportunities for them here in Hawaii, do you take a different approach, maybe a greater sense of urgency to mentor local students to feel enough confidence that they have a place to have a career?
Yeah, absolutely. So Paxa, and actually in conjunction with our partners like University of Hawaii and some other larger commercial and state government institutions, organizations, we started a workforce development program that was meant to take anyone with a high school degree and get them started in technology immediately. So the workforce development program at Paxa was actually meant to help people who were displaced by the pandemic, where we would immediately pay them with little to no IT experience. All the while, we would help them pursue an industry recognized credential. So it's not accredited, but it's IT certification. And so, yes, I completely understand the urgency, and we're feeling it now more than most. Hawaii is usually a little bit behind as far as technical implementation and innovation is concerned around IT. So that being said, there will be a tidal wave coming, I feel like, in the next 2 to 3 years, where all the large employers, the state agencies, even the Department of Defense will start talking about cloud and how to implement cloud, what does it do for their organization. And being as that is within our core expertise, I feel as though the opportunity to really get in front of that for helping our workforce understand how it could benefit that is right now. So hence why we started this workforce development program that I think is, it's gotten a lot of traction. I think we've had maybe 20 people come through since I started it. And again, we're a company of about 100 people, so that's 20% of our workforce right there. It was meant to give them employment opportunity upon graduating through the program and have an IT-based certification. But what ended up happening is we hired all of them. And so now if I lose any, one of them, it's kind of gonna sting a little bit. So we made an investment in them and, again, it speaks to the local culture. People really, if you work hard, anything can happen. Anything is achievable.
Wow, so this development program, it's not just for like engineering students, it's for people straight out of high school.
It's for anybody. I can definitely share the information, but one of the stories we tell all the time is I had a former, I'm sure if you worked at a hotel or if it's like a massage therapist, like I don't want to insult her, but I'm not sure if she ever really knew the difference between Mac and Windows. But now she is one of our most valuable project management resource. And so that happened very quickly. I think, the program is meant to last about 6 months to where we facilitate progress in their pursuit of an IT-based certification, but they're also working for us and learning kind of the ins and outs, like I mentioned earlier, the commodity parts of information technology. And so they're able to quickly get the experience that they could put on a resume that's valid, but again, also get a certification that other employers would recognize. So, yeah, thanks.
So what do you think Hawaii has to do, like as a whole, to kind of grow the IT sector so that getting like an electrical engineering or a computer engineering degree here doesn't mean you're more willing to stay here rather than just kind of go off to the main?
Yeah, I think it starts with everybody that doesn't employ anyone with an IT background. The large employers, again, they're well aware of like quote unquote the tidal wave that I mentioned earlier, where technology is going to rapidly change. And I think it'll be a focus on innovation and how it can help support these organizations going forward, which would then call for this higher level expertise, to remain in Hawaii. And there's nothing that we would like more than to employ every student coming out of the University of Hawaii Manoa that has a computer science or management information system degree and keep them in Hawaii. I would note that it up to maybe even 6 to 8 months ago, the landscape for hiring college graduates was probably the most competitive that I've ever seen because of remote work. So our key partners like Microsoft, like Oracle, were hiring college students immediately upon graduation and paying high competitive salaries, all the while they could be working at Ala Moana Beach Park because of the pandemic. So they allowed them to work from anywhere. And so that I think is cooling off and is falling into our favor a little bit. But even with that said, there's still an effort that has to be made to try and keep talent in the island.
So were there any, like switching gears a little bit, were there any individuals along the way that really made a big impact on you? Do you mind telling us a bit about like how they changed your life or impacted the direction you took in your personal or professional life?
Yeah. We have only until 12 o'clock, yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. So if there's anybody, I have to go with my dad, who is ingrained the University of Hawaii, Manoa, into my heart, brains, and blood. So my father was the captain of the 1959 football team that beat Nebraska in Lincoln. 22 people, and I'll never forget as a young kid. So he's 1959. You can do the math. He's 90. So I'll never forget as a kid going to the basketball game where they honored that team years and years ago. I have it on video. This is before the iPhone, so I forget what the quality is so bad, but I got it at least, right? They got a standing ovation for that game, that accomplishment, and the same thing I said earlier. One of the core principles, values that he instilled in me and my siblings is hard work. With hard work, anything is possible. And so I want to say that I don't know, nothing to take away from Jimmy V and the V Foundation, but my dad used to tell me, don't give up, don't ever give up. And then I saw a famous coach saying that on TV. I said, hey, did you get that from my dad? And, of course he did. But so yeah, I would have to say it's not my dad.
You mentioned about UH Manoa. What advice would you give to high school students here about staying here and pursuing like an EE or CE degree at
I mean, just knowing what I know about the program here, it is tremendous. I mean, the opportunity for students, who graduate from high school, whether it's, private, public in Hawaii, to have the University of Hawaii, available as an option is tremendous. I mean, I wish I went here. Like, I wish I went here. And knowing, Dean Ueoka and everything that you hear about, and just looking at this room lined with technology and how you guys have delivered this to it, I don't know. I feel like I want to cry. I think I'm so happy to see this kind of innovation happening right here in at the University of Hawaii. So, I mean, between every chance I get, I'm saying go to UH. I'm serious. I tell people that. My dad tells people that. So, only love and aloha for this institution.
So can you, I guess, tell us a bit more about PAXA? Like, what are some of your favorite projects that you've seen at the company?
Yeah, so one of our biggest projects is an implementation of the State of Hawaii Department of Human Services Medicaid eligibility calculation platform. And so, yeah, that's a mouthful, but it's extremely complex. It runs almost entirely on an Oracle platform. And it's very exciting. I mean, what we're doing is taking a constituency or a needy population and helping them get healthcare. I mean, that is the mission of the organization at DHS, to serve people, to help underserved people gain access to quality healthcare. And I believe since we implemented the program, it's helped about 500,000 people. And so those types of, and my grandmother included, who was on Kauai, that had no ability to fill out the original application for Medicaid eligibility, which was about 200 pages long. After it was digitized, she qualified. It wasn't that easy. Believe me, it's a lot more difficult than I make it sound, but true to our mission, making technology work for Hawaii and helping other people. And so that's one of the projects that really, just again, make me so happy to have a chance to be a part of this.
So what was the first real breakthrough you had in your career? How did it happen? How did you make that breakthrough happen, and excited with that opportunity?
And the first breakthrough was like realizing that I had a real passion for technology. And it started, I think, way back. I am a longtime avid video gamer. Started on a Commodore 64. I don't know who remembers Commodore 64. Yes. Yes. But I realized I had a passion for digital and creating stuff and being able to write small programs. Always interested in it. The first breakthrough came, I think, when I had an opportunity to move back to Kauai, which I'm originally from Kauai. and help build what you see now as you land on Kauai. There's a big, kind of looks like a civic center, but it's actually the judiciary and police station. And so like most IT guys would remember, I did start in a basement, in a dark basement with the laptops and no lighting, and we had desk lamps. I mean, seriously, and it was in the basement at the Kauai County. And being a part of that, to see what went into it on a small island of Kauai, and to understand like, I can do this. Like when they say, oh, we're gonna stand up the new police station, and I walked through it, I was like, there's only 5 of us, this is impossible. And we actually did. And that was really a breakthrough for me to understand like, hey, we're good at this. We know how to do what they're asking and look at what can be achieved. And so that was the first real breakthrough, I think, for me to recognize like your passion can take you as far as you want.
How would you recommend students to find their own passion?
You know, that is a really great question. If you don't know by now, if you cannot sit down and ask yourself, hey, what do I really care about? I think you should probably take requisite time to do so. Because as you start your career, you will find that that is the one thing that will keep you going. And in IT, it changes so quickly. And even in engineering, it's so complex. Whereas turnkey as it's supposed to be. There's so much complexity and so much change. Taking that time actually helps you keep sane. And so if you have, again, the ability to work hard and you actually care and you're passionate about what you're doing, I don't know, everything will seemingly take care of itself. And that's what happened to me.
What would you say your approach to leadership is? Like, how do you inspire the people in PAXA, and also what do you do to kind of push the company forward?
As you can see, I'm a huge fan of pop culture. So growing up video gaming and everything else, Star Wars is also in my brain, blood, and heart. But so yeah, I think inspiration comes from action. And so as people watch us, I'll come back to that big project. I use my technical skill to help deliver on that project alongside maybe 30 or 40 other consultants and more partners. I think that was probably about a 200-man project in totality. But when they saw me actually working on it, I think they felt inspired to also follow suit and be like, wow, I mean, again, just humbly saying, the president can do it, then so can I. And so I think, that leading by example is another thing we've probably all heard from our parents and whatnot. So working hard, finding a passion, leading by example, they weren't wrong. That actually does work. So yeah, I think, using my skill in a way that can show people we're not afraid to get our hands dirty too. And I've looked at and treated everybody who is employed at PAXA as my peer, has gone a really long way.
Was there ever a time where you were insecure about your leadership, or you ever doubted yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Still now to this day. However, I think what other leaders will also say is that they've gotten exceedingly good at making decisions. And so, yes, you might doubt, but if you again, you take time, you plan, coming back to everything that you've already heard and already know, take time to plan ahead, to create, action, and make decisions. And if you're armed with the right information, which we all are in this day and age, right? Especially engineering students would be armed with the right information, then, you run with the decision, you stand by it. And yeah, so I think eliminating doubt has been overcome by technology and my implementation and use of technology.
Was was there like a time, I guess, then when you really felt comfortable in your role, like where you stopped feeling overwhelmingly negative and you're just like, this is right, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's another great question. So I've never really had a negative perception about where I was employed, what I was doing at any given time. And I really tried to stay away from that and also tried to surround myself with people that are also similar in style and thinking. So a lot of muted optimism at all times. Like I'm a glasses half full guy, right? And so I think I've never really had the challenge of having to overcome, extreme negativity in any of the organizations that I've been a part of. And I think that's key, to surround yourself with positive thinking. That does work, right? Especially when you're in the basement and you got to finish this thing. And then, I don't know, the managers and VPs are saying, hey, what happened? Where is it going to come out? Like, are we on time? You got to stay positive. You got to always think positive. Always.
I'll remember that.
Good question. Very good question.
If there was something that you could go back in time and tell your younger self now that just graduated college, what would you tell yourself?
Go buy Bitcoin and sell it. Yeah, I think it would be to always be prepared. Like again, so all the things my parents told me, our parents said about working hard, being passionate, never giving up, and just importantly, being prepared. I would tell my younger self. I mean, if you guys know what this means, then, but that's my model too. Be prepared for anything, because one day things can be going great and you never know. And so if you're prepared for it, you can deal with it and you can still surprisingly maintain that positivity, of which I've really tried to constantly tell myself. Like I said, it kept me going. I mean, literally 12 hours in the basement. That'll get anybody thinking, oh man, what am I doing here? But it really did keep me going. So be prepared. That is what I would tell my earlier self.
Sorry, we didn't mention this earlier, but if anyone in the audience has questions, yeah, just like raise your hand, or if you're on Zoom, just type it in the chat. We are open to questions if you guys have it. So for me, how has your upbringing as a youth shaped you as a leader? I know you talked a little bit about like your dad and stuff, but maybe like your childhood, how that like affected your life decisions.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any slides, I promise. I didn't really prepare for this, but it seems to all be making sense now. When I think I was in 8th grade, I had an unusual injury. I broke my femur right below my hip. And so that's the strongest part. It's the strongest bone in your body. And I was just riding my skateboard down a small hill and I broke my femur. Again, it was like compound, the whole thing. And what my family did, to get me back from that is a severe injury. I think it really, again, emphasized everything I just said. Like my dad kept telling me, don't give up. At the time, the doctor's like, oh my God, sports is out for you. You will never be able, your leg will be crooked, like it'll be, one will be higher. So I want to say one of the medical institutions here for children, a Shriners Hospital, like did a case study on it because I came out okay. And I was able to actually play football in high school and even college. So yeah, that event really taught me about, again, positive thinking, not giving up, working through real adversity. That was excruciating pain, not only at the time of the injury, but as you recover from that. It's probably an 18-month recovery. So yeah, that event really helped me, I think, become who I am now. In attitude, again, humbly saying, in attitude, it really helped me see a lot of things different early on. I think it was 5th grade, so I was 11.
That's so young.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, were you ever like a mentor or mentee, and kind of what was that like for you?
Oh, yeah, always. Yeah, a lot of times I have been and mentored others. I think in business, there's probably not a better calling than trying to help other people who are interested in this industry, especially because of what I said earlier, where we really need more equitable wage for technology employment here. And some of those even specialized skills being exported, upon graduation. So I think being able to mentor somebody and tell them that there's an opportunity here in Hawaii, not so much the technical side because it does change so frequently. But obviously, if you can get an engineering degree or a computer science degree from the University of Hawaii, Manoa, you're a smart person. And so I think, again, there's nothing better than being able to draw on my experience and share that with others and help them, succeed in our industry here locally.
do you mind talking a little bit more about PAXA, like your guys' like missions and goals? I think it's really interesting, like the little bits you've shared so far.
Yeah, so our mission really is to help local organizations succeed through making technology work. And it is, at times, for as easy as it might seem, with the growing concerns around cybersecurity, cyber attack, human operated cells that are trying to spawn ransomware everywhere. And as you've seen, it can affect our critical infrastructure. PAX is really starting to bolster our cyber attack prevention capabilities alongside our advanced consulting services. So we do focus a lot on the infrastructure components of technology and the commodity parts. For example, taking organizations to Microsoft Office 365 and then securing it for them and then maintaining that for them is something that we do on a regular basis because smaller organizations might not have an IT staff. So they think, oh, if I go to the cloud, I'm safe, which is absolutely not true. There's a bunch of other things that you need to do to secure that deployment. And also you have to have the technical knowledge to know how to do it. So PAXA is really trying to bolster our cyber attack prevention capability. We are trying to help other, even larger organizations understand what it means to digitally transform. So digital transformation is like, it means 1,000 different things to 1,000 different organizations, but nonetheless, it means change. And how do you adopt that change for organizational benefit, for business benefit? And that's really at the core of what we're trying to do with 101.
It seems like you guys are making a really big impact, especially on like our lower income and like disadvantaged communities. How did you like come up to be in this position you are? So
Oh man, that's a great question. I think PAXA was incepted in 2012. And so, like I said, just being focused on helping our mission of helping organizations succeed through the use of technology afforded by our partners, like Microsoft, Oracle, HP, Dell. I think it just kind of happened on its own. And as I really made that, one of my new passions was to help organizations succeed. I think that's how this all evolved into what it is today. And as far as personnel, I mean, we're growing leaps and bounds. I think we grew about 30% in 2022. And there's even more growth on the horizon for us.
Did you start off as president?
No, absolutely not.
How did you, I guess, or when you started at PAXA, what kind of position were you in?
I was in an engineering position. So I started off as kind of like a infrastructure engineer, if you will. And like I said, just I realized that, wow, what a tremendous opportunity to use our skill to help organization, businesses and organizations succeed. We went guns blazing with that philosophy. And yeah, I think it was successful. That philosophy paid off for a lot of myself and a lot of other PA staff members at Paxson. And here we are today. Well, 10 years later though, but still, nonetheless, here we are.
Kind of, I guess, steps did you have to take to get to where you are now in the company?
I don't want to say my ascension was overnight, but there was really not a lot of planned steps. So I hate to draw again from what our parents taught us, going back to that core values thing, but just working hard and continuing to prove the value of what we were doing, and of course keeping my whatever skill it was, keeping as up to date as I could on that. Up to date sounds kind of like it's a hobby, but it means a lot more than that. It's like getting current with IT certifications as much as possible. And yeah, again, just continue to deliver for our partners and organizations that we work with, I think was the main step in being able to now lead the company. So having an understanding, again, seriously starting in the basement and then working through all the other stuff gave me a broad view of what it is we're trying to do, but it also gave me a broad view of what our partners and customers are trying to do. And so keeping that at top of mind, I think was fairly imperative. If there was any step. So yeah, I wish I could replicate what happened, but you gotta be there I was here since inception. And so yeah, it worked out for me. Not saying that there aren't ways to plan that out, but I certainly didn't go into it planning to become the president.
What is the single best decision that you have made that has positively impacted the trajectory of your career?
I think it was moving back home. I think it was ignoring the offers I had because even back then it was opportunistic. I was in school in Oregon, and then Intel is headquartered in somewhere Washington, Pacific Northwest, much like Microsoft and some of these other large technology firms. And I certainly could have gone to work for them. But it was actually my parents who told me, hey, there is an opportunity for you to come home and work for the county of Kauai. And I was like, wait, what? I can go work for Microsoft or Google, I think. And they said, no, you should come home. You want to come home, right? I think so. And then, the job gets explained to me, and I remember having an interview and it lasted all of 10 minutes. And right after that, I got an email saying, hey, here's the job offer. It paid this. And then they certainly didn't tell me about the basement. But then I realized, I just, again, without knowing, but feeling it, when I was even on the plane ride home, I said, no, this is going to be good. Right. And then getting there, it was just so cool. Right. It was just so cool. Again, to be part of that experience, building the infrastructure for the police station. Maybe it doesn't sound cool, but it was cool to me, man. And that I think now looking back, I know for sure I made the right decision. No doubt, coming back home at that time was the right decision.
Yeah, a lot of my classmates, we come to UH because we plan on staying here and we want to help Hawaii itself grow as engineers. Really cool that you came back home. Did you plan on it ever? Or was that part of your plan?
I just didn't know when. I mean, I knew I wanted to come back, but I just didn't know when. Certainly not when that job was offered. I was thinking it would be at least 5 years because I wanted to get experience I could bring back, and of course, be more valuable, right, to any organization that I was with. But again, that opportunity, now I look back, it was the career defining moment for me to come back and work at the county of Kauai in IT, which again, as I say it, it almost sounds ridiculous. But it was probably the best decision I've ever made.
Were there any skill sets or knowledge that you wish you had known when you first kind of started? How did you go about obtaining them?
Yeah, I mean, I think I already had, again, humbly speaking, County of Kauai IT, all of 4 people, 3 of which were ready to retire upon my hiring. They did, yeah, I want to say I brought a little bit of expertise back to them as opposed to having to learn anything new. Because I've been at these geeks in computer, that's me. And so, I mean, again, the passion for, digital, all things digital, it really helped me and it helped them. And so that's why I think we were able to really hit the ground running and make that implementation happen. Still very proud of that. Every time I go back to Kauai and I pass the airport, that's still going. So.
How was it like working from a team of 4 to now like a team of over 100?
Yeah, good question. I mean, that's very different. It's very different. And like I said, I certainly don't want to give the impression that I'm pounding nails with this staff every day. But that said, in order to lead, I think right now the difference is strategy. So organizational leaders right now, I think in any industry vertical for Hawaii, have to start being extremely strategic because of what we've experienced and probably what's coming in the changing landscape for workforce. The changing landscape for technology acquisition is also very important in this day and age. So I think being extremely strategic and thinking about what are the next big things that will help take our customers and organizations, partners that we work with in Hawaii forward for the next 5 to 10 years. And of course, cloud is always at the top of the discussion, but that's just a word right now. It has to be tangible. So how do we prove that what the large technology vendors are saying we should do? How do we prove to our partners and customers that that's what they should do? So I think being strategic in looking at all of it and how organizations can acquire said technologies and then leverage it for not only for operational efficiency, but also for innovating is another area that we're focused on. So, sorry.
There's been a lot of different values you've mentioned throughout this talk. How do you take those values and kind of get others in your company to kind of abide by them as well?
Yeah, that's a good, I have to say, and this is just being honest, not everybody wants to work hard. I mean, not everybody wants to be 12 hours in the basement under pressure and, drink. I mean, there's not an IT guy that doesn't drink. That I see Alan, who is also an IT guy. But yeah, so not everybody wants to work hard. Not everybody understands. Some people are just looking for jobs. I mean, especially now in the entry-level positions where maybe they don't have a college degree. I think they're just looking for some type of gainful employment, quite frankly, to keep them afloat and here, in Hawaii. So our core values, I think, constantly expounding on what they mean, not just reading them the values and putting it in PowerPoint, but trying to articulate how if you do that, or if you live by that, things could get better across the board for you, for our customers, and especially for your career, like I said, working hard, having the passion. If you do that, right, and you can really focus it. I'm not saying you got to do the 12-hour basement thing. People want to do a good job for 8 hours. That's fantastic. And then our engineering, they go home and they study for certifications. Well, now because hybrid work, it's really interesting. It allows us to engage them without having to really sit there and talk to them. Look at what we're doing right now. So there are many technology platforms that are helping us with that. And again, like I said, I constantly expound on our core value system and integrate that into the work that people are doing. Because as they see that and they're working, they remember it. If you hammer it, they'll remember it. And so again, I can't always have success with turning somebody who really doesn't want to work hard, is lazy, into some unreal computer scientist go-getter who's going to figure out, solve all these problems for us. But at least we can continue to, again, integrate it in the work that we do. So, we always do the right thing. That's something I say all the time. If there's a customer who's having trouble, or I don't know, like let's say disaster strikes and they get attacked or hacked, and it's a widespread attack, we'll help them. So it's, again, the core value is doing the right thing by our partners and customers. I think it goes a long way. It goes a really long way.
Would you mind maybe sharing one of your stories about a challenge that you had to overcome, maybe with a customer in your own professional life?
We've had many. We've had many. I think one of the biggest challenges we've had to. It's still an ongoing thing, but like I said, to be able to skill a lot of our engineering and consulting teams on what it means to help customers defend against cyber attack and transform that way has been an ongoing challenge because of the fact that these attackers are getting they're really smart, and there's just too much there's too much fiduciary gain for them to stop. So not only is it getting sophisticated, it's getting worse. There's actually investment being made on developing even commodity ransomware that, of course, in a nightmare scenario, it affects our critical infrastructure. I don't know, turns off our lights, or affects our phones, or takes over the cars we drive, or I don't know, but I don't want we're not there yet, but I'm saying be prepared. Anything can happen. And that's the ongoing challenge. It's happening so fast. There's limited information. Customers don't really understand. Organizations don't really understand what it means to have a true, we call it zero trust infrastructure architecture in the enterprise, that it falls off the table. And then we got to constantly come back and remind and retool the customers and partners we work with about what it means to have a real cyber attack prevention program in their organization. But again, we're 100 people, and not everybody is going to be, the next cybersecurity genius. Those certifications also are very difficult to attain. So one of the challenges too, is building credibility, so that when we say this is what you should be doing, they know that we just didn't look it up on Google, right? Or they know that we've lived it and we've seen the negative outcomes, right, that can occur. So I think that still remains our biggest challenge, is educating partners, customers, other organizations, large organizations we work with, and defining their cyber risk profile, but then also helping them to mitigate any real risk that they might face.
As someone who's very positive and is always thinking about the good side of things. How are you able to keep this mindset knowing that things are just gonna get continuously worse and worse?
Yeah, I think it's I've always looked at it as an opportunity. And I'm certainly not challenging those rogue, state sponsored bad people, but I've looked at it as a challenge for us to step up and become kind of like thought leaders in this arena because it is evolving so quickly. But the opportunity lends itself really well because our partners like Microsoft and Oracle, they rely on organizations like PAXA to help secure their solutions. And so it's a real opportunity for us to even further help customers that we already work with. And then if you don't have, Office 365 or things, Oracle database in our core portfolio, we can help you even more, I think. So I've looked at the opportunity, and it actually gets me excited. Certainly, again, not challenging or promoting these guys, but they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And our expertise is really tailored around how to help prevent cyber attack. No matter which industry vertical you're in, no matter who you work for, I don't wish that upon anyone. And so if we can help in any way, that's win for PAXA.
You're inspiring me, cybersecurity.
Good. Very good.
So for those students who are just about to graduate soon or who are starting a new job, do you have any advice for them to how to kind of grow in their career and not give up and just keep moving forward?
Come work for PAXA. No. Yeah, again, it comes back to like, what do you, again, I said requisite time, like sit down and figure out like what you really want. Some people don't, they go so fast, and I know that when you're smart, engineers and computer science people, they think very differently. They got a lot of brain power, but sit down and ask yourself, like, what do I really want, like for myself? And if you're asking questions like, how can I help other people? Like, man, even better, right? So I continue to do that today. Like, how can we help? Like I feel good about the future, and PAX is a for-profit organization, so I feel good about that. But at the same time, what can we do to actually help people, not only in our industry and through formalized avenues like this workforce development program, but also just in general. Like we have all this technology expertise, right? I don't wish cyber attack upon anybody, but it probably is happening right now where somebody's getting targeted or fished for money. Like, how can we prevent that? Maybe not across the board for Hawaii, but for as many organizations as we possibly can. I think about Indo-Pacific Command being headquartered here, and we're doing some really amazing stuff with our hardware partners, where they have these cases that are about this big. And I've heard this term so many times. It's a data center in a box. Like other people, vendors, partners have tried to engineer that. There have been other, smaller companies trying to glue server boards together to support, forward deployment and support the warfighter. But we actually do have something now where we resell this appliance through our partner, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, which is one of the largest OEMs in the world. And it's meant for soldiers and commands to go into the field and have readily available IT infrastructure anywhere on the planet. And so that kind of stuff is pretty amazing to me, and keeps it exciting. Sorry, that was a tangent. Did I answer? Okay.
It was very good. It's really cool to learn about. Is there any other ones that you wanted to mention?
So many. Yeah, I would say not in particular, but across the board. Again, if I wanted anybody to know anything, it's about us looking at helping every industry vertical we can, and that means utilities, healthcare, financial institutions, Department of Defense, state, local government. Again, how can we use our core portfolio of engineering and consulting expertise to help them digitally transform, but also to help them defend against cyber attack. Those are the things that we're laser focused on at the moment.
If you weren't at AXA, where do you think you want to be?
I don't know. I don't think I want to be anywhere else at the moment. I probably have to get a job at University of Hawaii or something like that. But no, yeah, I think I can't think of anywhere I would rather be at the moment.
Well, right now, not really, but right now we're speaking to our students in engineering. Where does education fit for you into the big picture of things from your perspective?
Oh, it's becoming even more paramount because I think, well, our workforce development program is kind of early in thinking. Of course, our problem will always be how far we can scale the program. For higher education institutions like the University of Hawaii, I know for a fact, if you have a degree in management information systems or computer science, you are instantly marketable to the top technology companies in the world. And if you can stay here, I mean, that's the dream. So I cannot be any more excited for students who are taking up background in computer science, engineering, and management information systems, especially at the University of Hawaii. So, yeah, I think it's paramount. It's paramount. Like going to school right now, looking for technology employment at that age is paramount. In other words, go to college, graduate, and you will get a job.
You mentioned expanding your workforce development program. What are some ideal goals you have for it?
Yeah, so we have big dreams for that because of the success we've had thus far. But it's really about scale and then also now including more specialized capability and integrating that into the participants. So the goal for me is to have somebody come out of it with an industry recognized credential. Like that's the goal. If they can go get more than one, because there's thousands or tens of thousands of them, then the more the merrier. But it's also to have now more advanced industry recognized credential training available through the program. For example, I talk about cyber things. CISSP, you can go look up that acronym, it's alphabets. But engineers know, right? There's the IEEE, I mean, there's how many alphabet soup designations on it. But CISSP remains one of the de facto most desired certifications for IT cybersecurity. We'd like to be able to offer that, to program participants at no cost to them, at no cost to them. And if they're employed by us at the time, which for that kind of certification, they hopefully are, then that's, a major milestone for our workforce development program to integrate more specialized industry recognized credential and making that available to program participants would be even applicable for college graduates. So because of the sophistication and complexity in trying to attain those certifications, I would really, really like to take that forward.
So we're going to wrap up our seminar with one last question. What does Hawaii need from the next generation of leaders?
Good question. No, great questions, you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think just following up on the legacy, the positive parts of what the legacy is leaving behind. And I gotta come back. Hard work, never giving up, finding your passion, and being prepared. You do that, I think Hawaii will be just fine.
Wow, thank you. Wow. I actually have one question.
Yeah.
And since Alan is here as well,
I think it'd be great if you can tell everybody here as well as all the people that's on Zoom. What makes Hawaii such an important place for cybersecurity? I don't think people understand that
Yeah,
because people think we're some tourist destination and we have absolutely no reason to be New York City or Washington DC. But I completely disagree. I think we have one of the greatest hubs to protect in terms of cybersecurity. I don't know if you can kind of expound on
I
that.
can, I certainly can from a civilian perspective, I certainly can. Yep, so as we all know, right, Pearl Harbor Indo-Pacific Command is headquartered here. Like I said, the worst case scenario, and I hate even saying it because I'm such a positive thinker, that the critical infrastructure gets attacked, damaged, and or denied service. Meaning that first responders cannot move, our internet connectivity as a hub between the CONUS as DoD, continental US, right? That's the DoD reference, and then Asia Pacific, where we have many military-based institutions, or military-based installations. It would be fairly devastating. However, again, that is a worst case scenario. So I agree that we need to really just get it back as top of mind, which I can see it is for the constituents and decision makers, in defense, and especially in healthcare and utilities that we work with. It is very top of mind. It is, and we've helped some of those organizations with some planning. But again, small company like us being able to keep up, we look for reference architecture, we look for help from Department of Homeland Security, even at some extent from the FBI. Anything we can get, we'll take. Because I agree that if there was a cyber attack that went awry in Hawaii, especially affecting either healthcare, first response, and or the Department of Defense, we'd be in trouble.
You want to comment, Alan?
No, totally agree. All the critical infrastructure, right? Electricity, communications, water, healthcare. I mean, if any.
Yeah, no, thank you, because my belief is the next terrorist attack is not going to be bombs. It's just going to be taking out the power grid. And you take out the power grid, you take out the networks, you've pretty much separated the continental US with the rest of our communications with the allies in the Indo-Pacific arena. And we're pretty much just sitting ducks.
And I can attest, like I said, we do work with some of those organizations, and I can attest that because of the very fact, right, that the Indo-Pacific Command is here, that the utilities, power infrastructure, first response, they work extremely closely together. And for just in my sidebar conversations, participating again as a civilian, I'm fairly confident in their leadership. Well, I should say I'm ultra confident in their leadership, but that said, you never know. So it comes back to, we gotta be prepared. We always gotta just be prepared for what's on the horizon.
Anyway, thank you very much. Love this shirt. I wish next time we'll get him to just plug College of Engineering instead of Manoa. Give an honorary degree if he happens. He's gonna be that much of a salesperson for the university.
We're gonna be tapping you for our next advertisement.
Yeah. Please tell, I'm more than willing. I have to. My dad will kill me otherwise.
College of Engineering.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think when you get a chance, please let us know, because a lot of our computer engineering folks are doing really well. And I hope that's one of the sectors that will really grow. Because all of us know the manufacturing sector in Hawaii is going to be tough just because of the cost of everything. But your sector has such a high possibility of success, where engineers, we create the future. So we don't have to worry about predicting, we just create it, right? So, thank you. Anytime you have time, please come and talk to us. Help all our computer engineering, all our engineering students just be more aware of what's possible in the city.
Oh, no, yeah, and if I can just comment on the experience and how well organized this was and just, being so accommodating, flexible and the College of Engineering and University of Hawaii in industry is just, I mean, it's famous. Like you guys do such a tremendous job. I'm so pumped. I mean, I wish my dad would understand what happened today. Like I gave him a talk at UH College, he'd be, what? Where? And so
This is recorded, right?
but anyway, thank you so much. And yes, please do call on me. And if you need anything, Bennett needs anything, anytime, he knows where to find me. So thank you so much.
Great.
I appreciate it. Thank you, you guys. Good job.
Thank you, Kelly. Hey, is our next one in January?
Yeah. I wanted to just make a quick plug here while we have everyone's attention. So we do have our February, March, and April speakers lined up. We are going to kick it off in February with Hank Rogers, really exciting speaker, Blue Planet Software. In March, we will have Kaipo Crowell, who is retired from Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard. And then in April, we have Sue Shin of Hawaiian Telecom. So really great lineup. More to come. We also have our Career Expo in spring, February 21st will be the virtual component on Brazen. 22nd, 23rd, 24th, we will have mini expos here at Holmes Hall for the employers attending virtually. They have a chance to come and interact with you students face to face. And then we have our banquet, our annual banquet at Convention Center on April 21st. That's a Friday. So that's a chance to get together with our alumni, our industry partners, our students, and showcase the great work that our students and our projects have been up to on just fundraise for the college. So look forward to seeing you guys in the spring. Thanks again to Kelly and happy holidays, everybody.